The smell of bleach hit me before I even opened my bedroom door. Hospital disinfectant still clung to my skin after a week of pneumonia treatment, but this was different. This was the scorched earth scent of someone trying to erase existence. My closet stood open, bare as a picked bone. Empty hangers swayed like skeletons. The drawers gaped, revealing nothing but wood grain. 40 years of carefully mended clothes, comfortable shoes, familiar fabrics gone. Surprise! My daughter-in-law Vanessa appeared in the doorway, arms spread like a game show hostess. "I've decluttered your life while you were away. You're welcome." I gripped my walking stick tighter, the carved handle my late husband Walter had whittled biting into my palm. "Where are my clothes?" "Donated." She beamed, her veneered teeth blinding in the afternoon light. "Every last threadbare, moth-eaten piece. You dress like a bag lady, Margaret. I'm doing you a favor. You donated all my clothes? While I was in the hospital. Well, you couldn't exactly stop me, could you?" She laughed, that tinkling sound that made my teeth ache. "Don't look so shocked. I've left you some nice things in the guest room. Proper clothes for a woman of your status." I moved past her, my orthopedic shoes silent on the carpet Walter had installed 20 years ago. The guest room bed held an array of pastel polyester, church lady clothes, the kind worn by women who'd given up on life and settled for matching their couches. "Vanessa," I said slowly, "did you check the pockets before you donated everything?" She waved dismissively. "Of course not. What could you possibly have in those ratty old pockets? Tissues. Werther's Originals." I sat heavily on the bed, my mind racing through inventory. The bonds. $400,000 in bearer bonds, sewn into the linings of my coats and jackets. A lifetime of careful saving, of Walter's prudent investments, of security hidden in plain sight. "Where did you donate them?" My voice came out remarkably calm. "Goodwill on Maple Street." They were thrilled. I told them it was a full estate donation. Tax write-off for Brian and me. She preened, checking her reflection in the mirror. "You'll thank me eventually. This is what family does, Margaret. We help each other." Family. This woman who'd married my son 5 years ago and immediately began calculating my worth, who whispered poison in Brian's ear about his burden of a mother, who counted days until my death like a miser counts coins. "Get out of my room," I said quietly. "Now, Margaret. Get out." She huffed but left, probably running to call Brian, to spin her story of the ungrateful mother-in-law who couldn't appreciate help. I sat among the polyester and planned. First, I called Goodwill. The donation had been processed yesterday. My clothes were already on the racks or sent to other locations. Store policy prevented returns on donations. "It's final once we issue the receipt," the manager explained apologetically. Next, I called my lawyer, then my accountant. The bonds were unregistered, untraceable. Whoever found them could cash them with no questions asked. $400,000 scattered across thrift store racks in the pockets of a bag lady's clothes. An hour later, Brian arrived, Vanessa's puppet on familiar strings. "Mom, Vanessa's just trying to help," he started, not even asking how I was feeling after a week in the hospital. "You have to admit, your wardrobe was dated." "Dated," I repeated. "Is that what we're calling theft now?" "Theft? Mom, she donated old clothes. She didn't steal anything. She stole my agency, my choices, my memories." I stood facing my son, this stranger wearing my baby's face. Every piece had a story. The green coat I wore to your father's funeral. The dress I made for your first school play. The jacket with the... I stopped. No need to tell them about the bonds. "Not yet. Things, Mom. They're just things." Brian parroted Vanessa's words with practiced ease. "You need to let go of the past. Like you let go of your father's tools when Vanessa wanted the garage for her Pilates studio?" He flushed. "That's different." "How?" "Look, we're not having this argument again. Vanessa was trying to help. You should be grateful." Grateful. There was that word again, the one Vanessa wielded like a weapon. "Be grateful we visit. Be grateful we let you see the grandchildren. Be grateful we haven't put you in a home yet." "You're right," I said suddenly. "I should be grateful." Brian blinked, suspicious of my easy surrender. You are?" "Of course. Vanessa's shown me exactly what kind of help I can expect from family. It's clarifying. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not from anger, that would come later, but from calculation. 400,000 in bearer bonds, hidden in the linings of 3 winter coats and 2 jackets. Walter's final gift, his insurance against uncertainty. Keep cash where you can touch it, Maggie, he'd said during his last days. Banks fail. Family disappoints. But money in your pocket is freedom in your hand. I'd sewn those bonds into my clothes the week after his funeral, when Brian started bringing Vanessa around, her eyes already calculating square footage and resale value. 5 years I'd kept that secret, my safety net hidden in plain sight. Now some stranger would find them, or worse, they'd go unnoticed, thrown away when the clothes didn't sell. $400,000 in the garbage because my daughter-in-law thought I dressed like a bag lady. The next morning, I did something I hadn't done in years. I went shopping. Not to Goodwill, hoping to find my clothes, but to Nordstrom. I bought quality pieces, wool coats, silk blouses, leather shoes. The saleswoman, recognizing another woman who'd been underestimated, took special care with my choices. Starting fresh, she asked, folding a cashmere sweater. Something like that. I maxed out the credit card Brian had given me for emergencies. This seemed to qualify. It took Vanessa 3 days to notice the charges. She arrived at my door like an avenging angel in Lululemon. $8,000. Are you insane? You said I needed new clothes, I replied, adjusting my new silk scarf. I'm simply following your advice. Not designer clothes. You're on a fixed income. Actually, I'm not. I smiled, enjoying the way her face shifted. But you wouldn't know that, would you? You never asked about my finances. You just assumed. Brian handles. Brian handles nothing. Brian knows nothing. Because Brian never asked. I stepped closer, noting how she retreated. You thought you were so clever, Vanessa. The helpful daughter-in-law, modernizing the old woman's life. But you're just a thief with good teeth. How dare you? I dare because it's true. But don't worry. You'll get what's coming to you. She left in a fury, no doubt to poison Brian's ear further. I didn't care. I had bigger plans. Over the next week, I visited every Goodwill in a 50-mile radius. I bought clothes that looked like mine, checking pockets and linings obsessively. Nothing. I hired college students to do the same, paying them to hunt through racks for vintage coats with unusual weight in the lining. What are we looking for exactly? One asked. Hidden treasures, I said. Family heirlooms sewn into the fabric. Word spread. Social media picked up the story. An elderly woman searching for her donated clothes that contained family mementos. The narrative shifted, painting Vanessa as heartless rather than helpful. #BagLadyGrandma started trending. Brian called, furious. Mom, stop this. You're embarrassing us. Like Vanessa embarrassed me? Throwing away my life while I was too sick to stop her. She didn't know about whatever you're looking for. Exactly. She didn't know. She didn't ask. She didn't care. I paused. Do you want to know what she threw away, Brian? Mom. $400,000 in bearer bonds. Your father's legacy. Our security. Gone to Goodwill because your wife thought I dressed poorly. The silence stretched across miles and years of distance. You're lying, he said finally. Check with Hamilton Associates. They issued the bonds. Check with my accountant. Check with anyone except your wife, who's been so busy spending your money she never wondered if I had any of my own. I hung up on my son for the first time in his life. The story exploded. Local news picked it up. Daughter-in-law donates fortune in vintage clothes. Vanessa tried damage control, claiming I was senile, that there were never any bonds. But I had receipts, documentation, photos of the bonds from when Walter purchased them. Goodwill was mortified. They implemented new policies about checking donated items more carefully. They offered to help search, but we all knew it was hopeless. The clothes could be anywhere, sold, shipped, thrown away. Then, 2 weeks after the donation, I got a call. Mrs. Morrison? This is Linda Chen from Goodwill on Maple. I think I found one of your coats. My heart stopped. Where? A customer returned it yesterday. Said the lining felt strange. I remembered your story and checked. There's definitely something sewn inside. I drove there immediately, my hands shaking on the wheel. Linda met me at the door with a burgundy wool coat, my coat, the one I'd worn to Walter's retirement party. We haven't opened the lining, she said. Wanted you to be here. With careful fingers, I found the hidden seam and pulled. The bonds spilled out, 8 of them, $50,000 each. One coat, $400,000, recovered by pure luck and the discomfort of a customer who didn't like how the lining felt. Oh my God, Linda breathed. It's true. It's true, I agreed, clutching the bonds. All of it. The media went wild. Vanessa became the face of greed and disrespect, the daughter-in-law who'd nearly thrown away a fortune out of snobbery. Brian begged me to stop talking to reporters, to protect their reputation. Like you protected me? I asked. Mom, please. The kids are getting bullied at school. Then perhaps their mother should have thought of that before she violated my privacy and stole my belongings. She didn't know. Ignorance isn't an excuse for cruelty, Brian. You of all people should know that. The other clothes never surfaced. Either they were sold to people who never noticed the hidden bonds, or they were destroyed. $300,000 gone forever. But recovering even one coat felt like a miracle and a vindication. I cashed the bonds immediately, opening accounts in my name only. Then I did something Walter would have loved. I hired a private investigator to dig into Vanessa's past. Turns out, I wasn't her first elderly relative to suffer sudden decluttering. Her grandmother had lost valuable jewelry during a similar helpful intervention. Armed with this information, I invited Brian and Vanessa for tea. They came reluctantly, Vanessa wearing what I recognized as one of my old scarves. She must have kept some pieces for herself. I've made a decision about my estate, I announced, pouring Earl Grey into my mother's china cups. I'm leaving everything to charity. What? Brian's cup rattled against the saucer. The house, the remaining investments, all of it. The Salvation Army should put it to good use. Mom, you can't. I can. I have. It's done. I smiled at Vanessa's pale face. After all, I'm just a bag lady. What would I know about managing wealth? The kids, Vanessa started, will receive their college funds, already established and protected. But the rest? Well, you've shown me what family help looks like. I prefer to help strangers. They left amid threats and tears, but I felt lighter than I had in years. Not from spite. Well, not only from spite, but from clarity. Vanessa had done me a favor, just not the one she intended. She'd shown me that dignity isn't found in clothes or possessions, but in how we treat others when they're vulnerable. The bearer bonds still hidden in my remaining clothes? I donated them properly, with documentation and tax receipts, to women's shelters and senior services. Each donation made in Walter's name, because he'd understand that true wealth isn't what you hide in your pockets, but what you share from your heart. Vanessa still tells people I'm senile, that there were never any bonds, that the media twisted everything. But I know the truth. She knows the truth. And Brian, my son who chose comfort over conscience, knows the truth. I kept the burgundy coat, the one that saved my fortune. I wear it everywhere, this coat worth $400,000. Vanessa says it makes me look like a bag lady. She's right. It does. I wear it anyway, my badge of honor. My reminder that true class isn't about appearance but action. That dignity isn't granted by others but claimed by ourselves. That family isn't about blood but about who shows up when you're lying in a hospital bed, worried about more than your wardrobe. The coat is warm, well-made, timeless. Like dignity. Like self-respect. Like the knowledge that I may dress like a bag lady, but I'd rather be an honest pauper than a well-dressed thief. Vanessa wouldn't understand. She thinks style is about labels and price tags, that help means erasure, that love means control. But Vanessa, for all her designer clothes and perfect teeth, will never understand the weight of a coat lined with freedom, or the warmth of self-respect that no donation bin can ever steal. I'm Margaret Morrison. I'm 73 years old. I dress like a bag lady. And I've never looked better.